Hey, this is Danielle from Black Business Boom and Black Owned Nashville, and we are live with Takisha Bromell from Girl Friday Business Solutions, who helps us in scaling our businesses, creating capacity. And today we're going to be talking about how do we go from setting goals to actually action planning and making those things happen. So I'm really excited about that. I was telling Takisha before we hopped on that we always talk about goals. We always are like smart
Yes.
goals and you need to set,
hmm
but then what do you do to actually implement things to make these things a reality? So Takisha's here to give us some tips, especially for the business owners that are
Yeah.
tuned in on how do we as business owners set the goal, put the strategy in place and plan the actions that we need to do to actually hit that goal. So I'm going to let you take it away, Takisha.
Okay.
What do you got for us today?
All right. Well, for me, like what I see is like at the end of the year, there's all these resolutions, and and on top of resolutions, you have all of these vision boards. People start vision boarding sometimes like in November or something like that, or October. They start the vision boards, and they have all these ideas and thoughts about what they actually want to kind of like create. But then what I find is that they don't actually have, and then they take that information and they move it from a vision board to a dream board to goal setting, right? But then the next step is the actual action planning. It is sitting down for a moment and saying, okay, I really want to see this vision actually come to fruition. So what I'm going to do is sit down and actually write down the tasks that are associated with it, and kind of creating the things or the vehicles that putting the vehicles in place in order to actually succeed on your goals. And so I think it's important to talk about action planning, because I don't think that a lot of people talk about it, like the execution of what you're desiring to happen.
Yep.
So I always think about three different things that I want to kind of talk about, three questions that I always ask myself when I'm thinking about the vision and then trying to make it a reality. And so the first question that you have to ask yourself is, can you do it? Um, okay, so, and what I mean by that is, can you actually do it from the beginning to the task, from the beginning of the goal to the end of the goal? Like you see that your goal is ever in front of you. Can you actually do it yourself? And if you can't do it yourself, like because you're writing down all the tasks it's going to take in order to do or to make or to get this goal, then if you can't do it, then your next step would be, in my mind, to then start thinking through like partners, team members, assistants, things that you're going to need in place to put in place in order to actually do it and to get it done. So number one is asking yourself, can you do it? But let me just say something. I think that the second question is even more critical. And and the question is, should you do it?
Now that's where I was going with it. I'm like, who that is a very, very, very important question because we set these lofty goals many times and we're like, I can do this if I can do this, this, that, and the other, if I can, spend 10 minutes doing this or out. And we need to really consider, if we really want it done and we want it done well, should we be the ones, so who
Absolutely.
are the people who
hmm
may be experts who may need to take over and help us? So I love that.
And so, in order to do that, you have to look yourself in the mirror and say, is my time well spent doing this and focused on this particular thing? Or is my time better suited somewhere else? And for CEOs, um, entrepreneurs, and solopreneurs, your best effort, the best thing that you should be doing is revenue generating ideas, revenue generating touch points, revenue generating tasks. That's what your focus should be. So, okay, okay, so last year I had a lot of things going on. And so in January, I'm kind of like still working on some things. And one of my team, a couple of my team members were on a meeting that I had with a potential client. And after we got off the meeting, they said to me, "We need you to come. Okay, we're because I also have a business developer that's on my team as well. And there's like, we're not saying anything against your business developer. Your business developer is fine, but you need to get back into business development yourself. Like, they encouraged me. They said, you are so wonderful at it. You have great conversations. You talk to the way that you talk to the person just now. Like, you need to come back to business development. And they encouraged me to get back in the game, and for that to be a bigger part of what I do than anything that I do.
Yeah.
Because there was nobody that was going to be able to shout out Girl Friday better than me.
I tell you.
At the end of the day. Nobody can sell Girl Friday. I'm not saying that I have an amazing business developer. She's still learning. But if you want to see growth in your company, that's what my team was saying to me. You better get back involved in it and because people, they hear you, they understand when you're talking, they listen to you. And that changed everything. And actually, our business is starting to grow again because I stepped back into it. So should you do it, like, there are things that my team members do for me that I don't have to worry about, so that I can focus more on the business development part of it.
Yeah, I love that. Again, like, I'm in the same position where I'm like, I really want to bring on someone to act as that business development specialist for the company, but I feel like I can do it better. But I got a whole list of other tasks, that somebody can be doing. Right? So it's plenty of, so many times we're complaining about the time that we have, but we have all of these tasks that we're doing that are not really driving us toward the goal. And we've talked about that quite a bit before. Like, we have to figure out where the best place is for us. Should we be doing these things? And who should,
who should? And if there was one thing that you could set your focus on, like, I had a mentor, and he was talking to me a couple of years ago about, like, staying within at least 80% of the time within that highest value place. And if you stay, and what would that highest value place be? And my team members were like, it is you selling. It is you being in there. And then I was like happy passing on like leads to people and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And over the past, like, maybe month or so, I brought in about 3 or 4 deals or whatever, because
because you shifted back to what, and that's important. How do we spend our time building the company and building the relationships that will lead to, the growth and the revenue generation in the company? I love it. Now, what's number 3 for us?
Okay, number 3. Will you do it? Now, can you do it? Should you do it? But will you do it? Okay, let me say, we get in our own way. We have to know who we are. Inherently, you are an aggressive person that once you write down a task, like, I have a client that I coach, and when I'm coaching her, I tell her something, and she does not let the grass grow underneath her feet. She is like, boom, 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 boom. The next time I have a meeting with her, she has already implemented it, already done it, whatever. And I'm like, wow, I love you being tenacious. And I also love the fact that you are out there. Like, when we have a conversation, it is you taking it and running with it. Not everybody has that. And as a coach, and I'm pretty sure you have talked to a lot of people yourself, Danielle, when you talk to people, and you may give them advice on what to do, and then they don't do it, And so, will you do it is the question that you have to be honest with yourself at. Because if you can't do it, I mean, you could do it, but will you do it? Then you need to have a coach, an accountability partner. You need to have accountability. You need someone pushing you. And at the end of the day, you need to get out of the way and let a professional do it for you and get you out there if you're not going to do it.
I love that. Yeah. I mean, we can make all the lists, we can put together all the plans that we want to. And look at them. I've had big old boards on the
Yes.
wall and,
Yes.
lists on my computer and lists on my notebook and still do
And
not
still,
do it,
it's
and
still
so,
no follow through.
yeah.
And what happens is that that vision board becomes stale because it is sitting there with no legs to it. And if you don't have legs to your vision board, if you're not looking at it on a consistent basis, my vision board is over here right beside me. I can look at it. I can see what's beside me. I can see where I'm going. I can see what I'm driving to. I can see the financial drive, the driving
Mhm.
and where I need to get to. I can see that. I can get onto my phone and look at my boards and stuff like that as well and kind of like see where I need to be at financially or whatever. It's ever before me what I want to do, where I want to go, and also being smart enough to know that there are some things like I have to tell, like you use my assistant Amy.
Mhm.
So there are things that like she reminds me of, she keeps in front of me, she keeps me going, she keeps pushing
Yep.
me. She's like, okay, don't
No,
forget this and
I
don't
was
forget
talking
that.
about Amy over the weekend, and I was like, if I tell Amy to get something done, she gonna get it done,
She gonna get it done.
And there have been times where I'm like, Amy, I'll do this, and you can do it. And then next thing you know, 2 days later, I'm like, Amy, just do it because I'm not gonna do it. Like
Yes.
we have to be real with ourselves. Many times we're like, I'm gonna do it, and then
Mhm.
we know we ain't gonna. We know it's not what we like to do, and
It's not what
most
we
times
like to
when
do.
it's something we don't like to do, we ain't gonna do it.
We're not gonna do
So,
it. Or we're gonna take our time in doing it,
yeah.
and we have to do it because it's not in our wheelhouse. And what I want for all of the, I would say, all of the people that are out there that are in business, we have to, I call it savvy accountability. It's being savvy about your time, savvy about your mindset, savvy about what you're doing and how you're doing it and when you're doing it. And that is making sure that you don't leave a vision without having goals. And if you don't leave your goals without having actions, and you don't have your action plan without actually putting legs to it, that's people, places, and things that need to be connected to that action plan. When, the W's, what, when, where, how, all in the how to it as well. All of those things need to be in place in order to move forward. And you have to be completely honest with yourself as well, and understand that you don't have to do it all by yourself. We have talked and preached that Danielle, that you do not have to do it all by yourself, that there are partners and people and all the type of people
Yeah.
that need to be out there in order to help you, from a VA to an executive assistant to an until just someone who can just come in and do a couple of
Yeah.
things for you, to partners or whatever. You do not have to stay there, but you really do have to own who you are. And it starts, action planning and actually action doing
Mhm.
starts with you being honest with yourself and saying that I probably I can do it, but should I be doing it? And if I'm
Mhm.
going to do it, will I do it? Will I
Yeah.
take the time to actually say to myself, or say that, you know what, that is not right now. I need to push.
I love it. Now, let me ask you one
Mhm,
last question. So, for
mhm,
those that are sitting out here, they done their vision board, they went to the vision board party, and so now they got their vision board and it's hanging up somewhere, or it might be in the closet by now.
mhm,
If they are like, okay, I need to figure out how do I don't even know where to get started with, like, what are the tasks, like what tips or advice can you give
mhm.
to the folks that have the vision board in front of them, or they look at it every day, but they need to now act on it and
Mhm.
make these things a reality? What action, how do they start to take that action? How do they start to get it down on paper to set those goals and, and actually accomplish some things?
It's so, well, okay. I think this is fun, but most people are going to probably say that I'm just a nerd. Okay, but like it is really just sitting down and kind of like building out your task. Like, okay, I need to do. These are the 5 things that are going to get me from point A to point B. Now, I will be honest here. My brain is more of an engineer. So I'm always thinking about like how to get from point A to point B. That's
Mhm.
why I can create like a lot of like task flows and things like that.
Yeah.
If you don't have that capability to do that, there are people around you that will start to, when you ask them questions about how to do things and where to go to do things, it will start to kind of like put into play those things. But it starts with you also being able to understand that about yourself.
Mhm.
Some people can only get into the weeds and can't see things globally. Get and you need to then turn around. If you are not able to see things from a global perspective, you need to have a coach. You need someone to come alongside you, an accountability partner. It's fine, but a coach will help you look global at what you're doing and then kind of get yourselves out there. The other thing is to get into mastermind groups. A mastermind group is a great place to kind of like learn things, get to understand things a little bit better. Usually, most people that are in mastermind groups are in those groups because they're wanting to kind of like get outside of themselves. They want to get outside of their brain trust of knowing who they are and then getting into the brain trust of other people and connections and
Mhm.
things like that so that you can grow. I am pretty sure, Danielle, that you're in some type of like
Bunch of
something where you're growing
I'm
as
I'm
a
in 4
person.
programs as we speak.
That's what I'm saying.
So,
And you are so okay. So you're in these things and you're brilliant already. Like
yeah.
we've worked together. I've
Yeah.
seen you break things up. I think I've seen you talk through things. But even in your brilliance, you know that you need other people that are smarter than you, that in the room.
It's so
When you come
important.
across, especially when you're in business for yourself and you're out
Mhm.
there and you're trying to figure it out. Like I
Yep.
saw you jump from, I remember, I can't remember, and I don't know if I should say, but you jumped from one place that was like kind of this like a narrow place.
Mhm.
And then all of a sudden it was like, no, I'm not doing that. I'm not killing myself to go and find like 100 of these things right here or whatever. I am going to now, and now you're
Yep.
teaching classes and consortiums and things like that, like from just one place of, okay, can I go and get 100 people in this program
I'd
to
rather go
now
get 10
saying,
good ones,
I'm
you know?
gonna go and get me, instead of doing that, I'm gonna get a company to buy my time and buy me to go in and teach 50
Yeah.
people
Yeah.
something.
Yeah.
It was like so amazing, Danielle, like what
Yeah.
you did in a short time last year.
Someone had a great question about
Mhm.
any local mastermind groups you suggest. And I am not a part of any local masterminds. I am a member of the Traffic Sales and Profit Mastermind group. If you are not in the Traffic Sales and Profit group, they are amazing. I also Brain Trust
I was just
locally.
gonna say brain trust, and I think brain trust came off of my tongue, but
Yeah,
brain trust is one of them that I've
yeah,
heard of.
yep.
Yeah.
Brain Trust is amazing. Sherry Deutschman is the founder of Brain Trust.
And thank you,
Uh,
Danielle, for that. That was a connection
Absolutely.
there. Yes. Mhm.
We have Twin Day. So for Black and Brown founders, Twin Day at the Entrepreneur Center. I don't know if their applications are still open, but I will say at the Entrepreneur Center, they have pre-flight, they have
I was
in-flight, they
gonna
have
say
Twin
that.
Day.
Yes.
They have so
Mhm.
many programs that allow you to get around like-minded people, and there's so much power in just being in the room virtually or in person with people
Yes.
who are on the same path as you. But then I also don't want to discount the importance of having a coach, because sometimes it's all good, to be in these groups, and to be a part and to hear from other people who are in your position, going the same place you're going. But there's nothing like that one-on-one,
There is
that
nothing
you
like it.
get
I'm just
and working
saying there
with a
isn't.
coach that
Yeah.
with dedicated time to you. A lot of these programs I named do offer that as a benefit, that you do get a
Yeah.
coach.
Mhm.
But I think that if there are things that I can tell people that they can do right now, is Find a good group, find a good
Mhm.
coach, and find a good VA. Like if you can get
Exactly. You know what?
those
That's
three
exactly
things
right. Yes.
in order, you can really start to see a shift, this year in your mindset and in your business. So, and Takisha's team, they're amazing. She provides everything from, VAs to really executive assistants, which some of us think we need a VA. We really need, an executive assistant,
Yes. Yes.
which is going to cost you a little bit more, but it's going to make you more, as well.
Mhm.
So that's what I'm telling you. I've worked with Amy now, I think for about 5 or 6 months,
Yeah.
and she
Mhm.
has made my life just so much easier. I know if I give something to her, it's going to get done. And that is a different level of peace as a business owner,
Mhm. Mhm.
because I have other folks that I've worked with and been like, I got to follow up tomorrow and make sure that this
Mhm.
actually was done. Right. So
Yeah.
if you are looking to grow your team, reach out to Takisha, reach out to Girl Friday Business Solutions. Takisha does some coaching, some mindset stuff as well. So, I
Mhm.
mean, it's been a great journey just working with her team to help. And Takisha has gotten my mind right, because a lot of times we just have to get out of our own head and
Out
we
of
got
our
to
own
get out
head.
of our own way. And so that's what Takisha has helped me through the onboarding process and just working with her and Girl Friday to really stop feeling like I had to do all of the things. And,
It's like sometimes you just need permission, like
yeah.
permission to protect yourself. Like I'm
And
going
when
to,
we
yeah.
first started working together, we just took the time to really just get down what are all the tasks, and
Mhm.
so again, we've sometimes set these goals. We haven't written down all the things that we have to do to actually execute and make it happen, and so having someone like Takisha to help walk through that process has been invaluable, for me. And not only once we did it, I saw the value in it. Now I do it constantly for myself,
Yes. And
so
that one thing that when you write down that task and you're like, oh my goodness, I have to do this. That's the thing that you need to give away. You
right.
need to just, I mean, anything that you
Or
like,
when you've been trying to do it for 3 months and it ain't going the way, you
yes.
told yourself you were going to get it done and it hasn't
Mhm.
been getting done, it clearly you need to get that off of your plate. And
Absolutely.
I'm super guilty of that. Like, I'm going to do this every month. I'm going to do it on the third, and I'm going to do,
Mhm.
and then the third comes and I'm like, next month. I'm going to start next month. Like,
Right.
those are the things that it's probably time for you to figure
Mhm.
out, how do you shift that to someone who's going to actually help you to accomplish that goal by getting those actions done. I
Absolutely.
love it. This was
Mhm.
amazing, Takisha. Again, I really appreciate you as
Thank you.
always, and just coming to educate us as business owners. And really, all we talk about is how to get out of your own way.
Get
And
out of your own way.
it's so important that we do that and learn the
And
skills that
throw
we
those
need to do
tasks
it.
to somebody else and run and excel and
Yep.
exceed your expectations. And it doesn't take long to do that. I'm
I
telling you,
love
it
it.
doesn't. No.
Now, if you are interested in figuring out how do you get this stuff over to somebody else, then you need to reach out to Girl
Yes.
Friday Business Solutions. Takisha, what's the best way for them to reach out?
Info at girlfridaybusinesssolutions.com. You can also just go to girlfridaybusinesssolutions.com to the website and fill out some information. It'll come to us and we'll get started. So it's pretty easy.
Perfect. I love it. Thank you so much. I
Okay, thank
appreciate
you. You
you
take
for
care.
joining me today.